Today is Saturday, October 15th, 2022. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for week 4 of Survivor 43.
4 episodes in. Started off with that big 2-hour, then the 90-minute. Now we had 2 1-hours, and this one just seemed jam-packed.
I thought so.
There's a lot going on, so I am looking forward to hearing what the super fans thought. Wednesday, right after the episode aired, we did our recap, so we got the broad strokes in there, and we got some of our feedback on that, and now we're going to turn it over to the super fans to get their take on all that we observed in week 4 and any predictions they may have going forward, which is what all of us in the fantasy league are quite often looking forward to in the listener feedback show. Especially now that everybody's had a little more time to process the episode.
Yeah, I just really had no clue this week. It's like, well, just throw a dart. Who really knows? Geo was just seemed like an easy mark. So we do need help with that.
Absolutely. Is there anything we need to cover? Any business before we get started?
No.
How many super fans we got this week?
14.
14. And we're kicking it off with Pete.
Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Wow. Now, again, Stacy, I'm sure you said it again. There had to have been a lot of stuff we didn't get to see because, again, no 90-minute commercials. We got our 60 minutes, more like 20 minutes because of our 2 challenges. But nevertheless, I'm going to let out a great big woo! Bam, bam. And I'll be honest, guys, I actually enjoyed this episode better than last week's episode when Nneka went home. Partially because I was glad the blue team finally went to tribal and they had to play the game. It was awesome. And kudos to the red team for winning those 2 challenges and winning it handily, coming in first place. I thought it was interesting with having to raid a camp there that they sent Cody, and they all said it, that he's a wild card, this and that, White Jesse, Noelle, but they sent him, and I was even more surprised. I thought he was going to raid the yellow team because they did have more rewards because they were finishing first, but he raided the blue team because they had the majority in numbers. But I like how he bargained there, and it pissed off Carla. I thought that was Saul, even though he might have been a little bit cocky, but it was entertaining nevertheless. I thought it was interesting seeing a Vessi helping Barker there on the puzzle. Now, had they not helped them, I don't know that Barker would have survived the puzzle there. I think Blue probably would have came back there, even though they were struggling as well. But man, though, I mean, you could say, I know Blue was pissed, and they have a right to be, but you hear Probe saying it, Survivor isn't fair. It's just the nature of the game, and that's why we love it, man. You make your own rules, and that was awesome. Now let me get into the blue team there. I really thought, based on the edit, Gio was going to be saying his goodbyes. It was going to be a solid blindside, because again, based on the edit, he thought he was going to get rid of Cassidy, and to me, for no reason. We haven't seen much of Cassidy at all there. Would have been a great blindside, and I think Ryan, who's a beast, he would have been devastated, because they're quite an alliance, those two. But Lindsay, clearly, her mind is in Alcatraz. I mean, when you panic, you're going to hit the showers, and you're going to get the tribe is spoken. Womp, womp, womp. Lindsay, what were you thinking? James tried to reason with you, but clearly it was to no avail. You know, guys, it's a shame. One of my least favorite seasons of Gabon, Lindsay reminded me of Sugar. You can't be an emotional wreck. Or like Lil way back in Pearl Islands. People that are emotional are dangerous. You gotta get rid of those people right away that panic. So I think in the long run, they made the right choice in getting rid of Lindsay, but they gotta watch out for Gio, guys. Well, I'm curious to see what next episode holds. Something big's about to happen next week. I can feel it. Love this season. Oh, and by the way, did you read the article with Probst, with Dalton Ross, talking about having some international thing, like to do with the challenge? I don't know how that will work out. But anyway, guys, we'll see. But this has been a great season so far. Here we go. Woo!
Whoa, thanks, Pete.
I haven't read anything. Have you?
I did read that. Yeah, I scanned over it real quick because I thought, I don't know. We'll see. They seemed so intent on cost cutting. The idea that they would do an international season, although maybe that's a way for them to all cost cut. Maybe they share the cost that way. But essentially, what my takeaway from the article was, given that Survivor Australia has been such a powerhouse and a big draw, and that Survivor South Africa has recently come on really strong with super high quality seasons, that there was the potential to be able to draw from all three of those pools. I think the New Zealand season is on hiatus, and the guy that was hosting is like since retired. They put everything on hold during the pandemic and basically didn't come back to it so far. But from that perspective, and there's a lot of others to draw from, right? There's been Survivor Israel, and I think, was it France did one, and the UK was just looking at doing one too. I don't know if that one kicked off or not. I wasn't following it real close. But anyway, the potential's there. I guess it would be interesting. You know, you would cheer for whatever nationality, I guess, from that perspective, just like with a sports team. But yeah, I'm more interested in them getting back to investing more into the Survivor here. I wish they would do that before going off and doing novelty things like international seasons.
Bring back Ponderosa.
Yeah, 39 days.
I really miss getting to hear what they say when they go up to vote. You know how you used to get to hear? They'd show a video clip of what they said.
Yeah, but they got wise to us. You know, that's really, I think, a big part of that is that
it gave away things they didn't want to give away.
It gave away flexibility to the edit, because when you got that kind of insight, then, well, when you can keep that a secret, then you can direct the edit in all sorts of different directions. And as we've seen over the seasons, you can get misdirected very heavily, and you end up at the end of the season going, what? How did we didn't see, all that. And then that's a little, for me, that's extremely unsatisfying when they hide it from you and then it's a surprise. I think that means the edit's a fail. And
I miss all the good extra clips. There's a couple of extra clips, but used to there'd be a whole bunch of them, like 12 or 13 extra clips for that week, and it was always so much fun to watch.
I can remember at times that we clocked it at over a half hour of extra content that would be there when they were dedicated to actually providing that to us.
And that was awesome.
Again, it took away flexibility from the edit because we got to see all these things that weren't clear.
Well, I do like that they're keeping it close and not giving away spoilers, but still, it's you don't get a whole lot of information. I would like extra information that isn't spoilers, but that gave you more insight to the people and the interactions.
Yeah, it just adds to the richness of the story, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Good deal. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanna, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada with my listener feedback. I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. I really liked the split reward and immunity challenge. It felt like they packed a lot of action into just 60 minutes this week. We learned a couple things with the reward challenge this episode. We learned that Ryan's not quite the challenge beast that Jonathan was, and although that's an insane benchmark to achieve, I've been really impressed with Ryan physically so far, but his performance in this challenge was a little bit lackluster. Lack of food is also a hell of a motivator to a tribe that hasn't had a lot of food. I felt really bad for Vetsy that they couldn't even take the fish reward due to the lack of flint. I think we're all on the same page that survivors should probably have flint. I'm not really a big fan of it being taken away. I think they should also have rice, but that's a different conversation. But it's a shame when they can't even take a reward because they have no means of cooking it and they haven't trained how to make a fire without a flint. But anyway, at the immunity challenge, it was interesting. During the first puzzle, I was thinking to myself that how nice it would be if there was these dividers to kind of block teams from seeing it. I've never been a big fan of teams looking to other teams to see how they're doing their puzzle. I think they should have to win on their own merit. So it was kind of interesting when that was happening in the first stage puzzle, and then in the second stage how it all sort of played out in the forming of that alliance. So I'm not really a huge fan of that, but it'll be interesting to see how it sort of plays out next week. Also, we got a lot of Ellie's crazy eyes this episode, but I think that there should be a nod to some of the strange looks that Dwight was offering, particularly after that immunity challenge. I feel like he looks so different with his new hairdo. It kind of makes him look more evil and menacing. I'm not sure if I'm the only one that noticed that. Lindsay's paranoia was driving me insane this episode. I wonder how much worse it must have been than what we saw on TV. She really did send herself packing. For next week, I'm not sure who I'll have as my vote out. I keep thinking it might be Gio, but he seems so tight with Ryan that it makes me wonder if they'll have the majority alliance in their tribe, and it might mean that Cassidy could be going home next week. But I look forward to hearing everyone else's feedback to try to form my opinion, and that's it for me. You guys just take care.
Thanks, Robert. Yeah, there's definitely things that we didn't get to see that were happening at Coco. In the exit interview with Dalton Ross, Lindsay said that Gio approached her on the beach and told her that she was being voted off that night. And he evidently was the fuse. He lit the fuse, this paranoia fuse in her. And she also acknowledged that she left very bitterly and that she had spent a lot of time with the survivor psychologist after this because it did a number on her.
Yeah, she said she knew she was going, even though I didn't read the article. I don't know where I saw that, but she did say that she knew she was going. And I thought, oh, that's why she sounded so angry when she came into tribal council and started answering Jeff's questions. I thought she sounded angry.
Well, yeah, she definitely lost the thread at some point during their back and forth debates there.
But what purpose would it serve Gio to tell her she was going?
I don't know. Since his target was Cassidy, it's not clear. Lindsay said she didn't fully understand it,
And he voted Cassidy too.
Yes, yeah. He was definitely targeting Cassidy, but maybe since she was guessing that since Gio knew that Lindsay was tight with Cassidy, she was doing that to try to disrupt Lindsay and Cassidy throwing up any kind of defense that would block his attempt to vote Cassidy out. It wasn't 100% clear. Thanks, Robert. Next up, we got a call from Nora.
Hi, it's Nora, and I am just amazed how much I love this season that we're having of Survivor. I just want to say something about Lindsay. Lindsay, when I first saw her, she played the wife, the mother, the working woman card, and as soon as you do that, before she even came on the show, I knew, no. She'll be voted out. She's way too bossy. And sure enough, in this episode, it was incredible how she spoke to people, even at Tribal. She spoke to them all that day before Tribal, and at the Tribal, she spoke like an executive that has called you into the office and demands that you explain yourself. And that's how she talked to everybody on her tribe. That was obvious. The same character is going on in a different tribe with Ellie that I've said from the beginning. Ellie is the same thing. Like, she's not a wife and mother or whatever, I don't know, but she's got that very same entitled energy. And like I said, when she first turned to the girls on her tribe and said, we're a women's team, and promptly voted out one of the women. And then Janine knew, I know exactly what I got here. I got the entitled. Ellie is claiming me as her friend. Do not give her honest feedback. She's really kind of a dangerous kind of character. And I'm hoping Ellie will be the next voted out, but I can see how much they all hate Gabler, which is too bad. But yeah, so I feel pretty strongly next week if that team loses, Gabler will be voted out. But they really should have voted out Ellie instead, but that's okay. My girl Janine, she was still scoring points for her team in competitions. She's very strong. She's very nice and silent, which is great. I want to talk about Gio for a sec. It was wonderful getting to know this team finally. We haven't really seen them at all, really, in their rush towards tribal. And the thing about Gio is it's kind of like guys, from Latin America can often be sort of bossy like he is, that is offending people. But the Lindsay Cassidy aspect of the team isn't getting that you're eating because of the stuff Gio knows, okay? And Gio's friends Ryan and James certainly know that, and that's brilliant. But you're eating because of his knowledge and skills, and instead of just getting offended by his style, have a look at what he's doing for you. That's what I say there. Really fabulous show. Thank you for all you guys do.
Thanks, Nora.
Yeah, that's one thing that came up in one of the 2 extra videos for this week. And Carla found a little snake on a tree and called everybody over. And Ryan just wanted to kill it immediately, which is usually my response to any kind of snake. But Carla was like, he was like, well, won't you eat it? We can cook it. And she's like, well, I might do that if we really needed food, but we've been eating a lot of food. I was thinking, oh, okay. They don't seem to be hurting for food at all.
Yeah, we've heard that multiple times now.
Yeah.
I don't recall it being Gio so much as Ryan providing it. I remember we saw Gio talking about an almond that he found.
Yeah, they got almond, and then they got some fruit.
Papaya was the big one,
sure.
and we've seen him chomping down on that papaya multiple times.
But I bet
I think
they've
Ryan's
used
bringing
their
in
fishing
fish.
gear.
Yeah, I believe he's bringing in some fish too.
So, but I thought, oh, interesting. She's like, yeah, we don't need it for food. We have plenty of food, so.
Well, and like we suspected, Lindsay confirmed in the interview, at least from her perspective at least, that for 9 days, the first boot out target was Gio. So they're not viewing him as a valuable food provider in the scheme of things.
Well, I gathered that from he sat out most of the challenges.
That too.
Where they needed somebody to sit out. That's usually tells you who they consider to kind of be weakest.
Gives you a little indication of the pecking order and where people's value is represented, at least from that stage in the game.
Though, as we saw, that can all change quickly.
Especially if you undermine yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Nora. Next up, we got a call from Sophie.
Hi, Joan and Stacey. Hi, Survivor fans. I gotta point out, yay, I got Lindsay.
Yay.
I chose her. Decided not to go for the most obvious Gio, and I was just getting Dawn vibes from Lindsay being so paranoid and needing so much babying. I figured that Carla's quite a strong female on that tribe. So, it was exciting to the end. I was glad. My first vote out point and all my save points have been good so far too. So it was good. Next week, I think maybe Ellie will be targeted, even though Janine is chosen to go on the reward challenge thing. I think maybe they might turn to Ellie instead. Does Owen find whatever Janine got? Is he looking at like a idol clue in Janine's bag when she gets back and then running to get it? I don't know. But maybe I'll go with my season winner, Ellie, and I'll just have her being voted out. I've just got this weird feeling. Unfortunately, Ryan wasn't doing too well this week, and Dwight was really moving like a sloth really slowly. I thought he was trying to throw the challenge. And I've just got this feeling about Justine. I think that Jessie just felt uncomfortable around her because she's really cute, and aren't they from like the same city? I don't know. I think the fact that he was calling Dwight his wife and stuff, I think it was just to keep him mentally sane. I don't feel comfortable around this girl. He could never get eye contact with Justine. I think just the fact that she was really pretty. I just think it made him feel uncomfortable. It's just something about Justine. So I'm just going with that. He seems to be playing a lot better and a lot more calm now that she's gone. But then as soon as she's voted out, then he says that Dwight is now getting a divorce, right? So it all sort of makes sense to me. I like looking into strange things of people's actions, and his eye contact was like non-existent with her, so he felt uncomfortable. The week before last I had Necker, so I've been trying to vote for the non-obvious, but yeah, it worked out with Lindsay. Let's hope it goes well from now on. I am impressed with Carla because she was my first vote out. I really thought she was going to go the first week, but enjoying her game and enjoying everybody's comments too. Thanks a lot for everything you do, and it takes time and energy, so we all appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, take care. Bye.
All right, thank you, Sophie. Yeah, that's some interesting insights, different takes on things. I don't think, well, as long as Gabler plays his immunity, he's going nowhere.
Yeah, because I totally think they'd vote him out in a heartbeat if he didn't have an idol. But he does, and at least the guys know that he knows it's good.
Yeah.
And so, and there's no reason not to play it. It would be so stupid not to play it.
Yes.
Because it's going away regardless. So play it.
We've certainly been shown what appears to be a wide spectrum of ability with regards to Gabler. So it's not out of the question that you could see him shoot himself in the foot.
I trust everyone. I'm going to not play it and show you my trust.
But you would hope that he would not make that mistake for sure. And with regards to the Risk Your Vote challenge, where we see, was it Janine, Jesse, and Gio there going up to do that. With those that we've seen so far, when you get something, you've got it. You don't have to go find it. It's not like building the bracelet, the immunity bracelet or anything like that. Gabler got 2 safes at his first 2 tribal councils. Noelle got a steal a vote. So I don't think that was interesting, Sophie's idea that Owen might be looking at something that Janine had and then he might be able to get it, but we haven't seen him work that way so far. So I was thinking, well, that's interesting, but it might be unlikely given how the first 2 worked.
Time will tell.
Yes. I'm more curious that it's, like we mentioned in the recap, it's the beware advantage that hasn't been found on Baca that Ellie almost stumbled over. Something to that effect. Thanks, Sophie. Next up, we got an email from Erin in Canada.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. I found this episode a little underwhelming compared to the action-packed previous episodes that we have been spoiled with. However, Lindsay going home was probably a good decision. Gio has surprised me with his confidence in the game despite not participating in many challenges and sitting out as much as possible. He must feel confident with his social game and must have a strong alliance, or he's terribly mistaken. I guess we'll have to see.
I'd say based on how the voting went, he's terribly mistaken.
Dwight made me giggle when he equated Cody going over to the other tribe with sending your kid off to school and hoping he behaves.
That was a good line.
This season has shown us so many ways to use the palm fronds, weaving together a shelter, a hat, and now a blanket, thanks to Gabler. Ha ha, too funny. I love seeing more tribe time in everyone's quirky personalities. If they make it to the merge, I think it will be funny to see Cody and Gabler on the same tribe. For next week, my prediction is Gio's going home again. I guessed that every week, and he's starting to appear to be a cat with 9 lives, and maybe he will hang on to the final 3 as a goat. James was player of the week in my mind, with his abilities to converse with the players, and he appeared to call the shots with the vote off. Cody was also impressive in the immunity challenge, breaking Vessie's losing streak. Well, that's all from me. Have a great week. All right, thanks, Erin. Up next, we got a call from Chris.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. It's Chris from Minneapolis calling. I think my One big observation for the week was just how interesting I think it is when a tribe takes as long as it did for them to go to tribal council. You're winning, everything's great, but when it's time to kick somebody off, it's got to be an interesting dynamic because you're really building strong bonds. I felt bad for Lindsay. As the oldest player, I think there's kind of a built-in paranoia with all these young players. I really thought she was in a good position, but I think it just kind of shows you that she kind of freaked out her alliance members, and they just felt like this is somebody that they can't work with, even when you got somebody teed up like Gio, who would have been an easy boot. It just kind of shows you, how paranoid Lindsay was. So I guess that was my big takeaway, just the interesting dynamics of going to tribal when you haven't gone yet. So take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks, Chris.
Right.
Yeah, there's definitely something to that, the not being tested component.
Right. Absolutely.
It has always seems to be a factor. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's David in Pittsburgh. I've heard that players have said that the only time you actually begin playing Survivor is when you're at your first tribal council, and that's when you find out who actually honors their word to you. So they do what they say they're going to do. So for a while, we've been wondering what Coco would do when they finally go to tribal council. Well, now we saw that Coco just went crazy. And the results were totally unexpected. During the reward challenge and then the immunity challenge, I was so excited to see that Vesey was finally getting into the groove and finally able to win some challenges. But I had such mixed feelings during the immunity challenge because Gio is my USB. And this is the first time that I picked Lindsay to be safe. So on one hand, I'm cheering the losing tribe to win and wanting the overall winning tribe to lose, but then worried about what would happen to my choice. But what happened totally shocked me. I never saw that coming. Lindsay, what were you thinking? I'm wondering about how this was presented and how this was edited. Was Lindsay paranoid, so much so that her tribe voted her out? Or was Lindsay paranoid because her tribe was going to vote her out? She said several times that, people like Ryan and Gio wouldn't talk to her. So, of course, there's a heads up right there. And then she says Carla was being sketchy with her. And as we've seen with Carla, she can say one thing and do another. So I'm thinking that Lindsay had some instinct for what was coming, and maybe that added to her paranoia, and that kind of exacerbated the situation. And we saw that Lindsay was playing so intensely. When Cody came to get his reward for his tribe, she was pretty much threatening him about if he did this, they would retaliate. And she was talking about revenge several times. Notice that when she was voted off and Cassidy was trying to apologize to her, she just sort of brushed it aside and left and didn't say anything to anyone. So I am shocked that she went. I'm glad that Gio's still in it. I'm wondering what her alliance really is. And as always, loving Survivor and your podcast. So talk to you next week. Bye.
Thanks, David. Yeah, those two things, Gio got in her head right when they got back to the beach and said she was being voted off, which wasn't even his plan, but that kicked it off for her. And then when she was doing her paranoid tour and talking to Carla and talking to James, and they were trying to reel her in and all that, at one point she said, Carla turned to her and said, "You're not playing your shot in the dark tonight, are you?" And she realized that it was purely from the defensive perspective of Carla looking out for herself, not from the perspective of the alliance. And that, I think that tripped her again.
So David was correct.
In what sense?
That she did have legitimate reasons to be paranoid.
Yeah, but the legitimate reason could be because you acted irrationally.
Possibly, but if Gio came up and said something to her, as you said, right after the challenge, they got back from the challenge, then maybe that's what set her off.
She also acknowledged that for 9 days he had been the vote out. So why she would go unsteady on her tribe, why that would be a catalyst for her. That, yeah, it's still a mystery. Thanks, David. Next up, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Nana, and I loved this episode. I thought it was super fun to see Coco lose, and I thought it was super funny to watch how salty they were about the other tribes ganging up on them. But why would you want to be the tribe that never loses pre-merge? I get saying that. It's pretty evident why you wouldn't want to be that tribe, right? When you think down the line in the game, that's a dangerous spot to be, because then you're open to that unintentional tandang of it all, of where these tribes who lost now have numbers if they form together against you. And yeah, they want to get you guys out because you've never been to tribal. It works very differently than a true 2-tribe season, and you're the tribe that never loses.
That's a good
and
point.
so it just baffled me how upset they were. And supposedly these guys are all fans. If you're really a fan, wouldn't you want to play the game? I don't want to just sit around on the beach if I'm ever on Survivor. I want to play. I want to go to tribal. Certainly not the first one. No, thank you. I don't want to be the first boot. But after that, I don't care. Let's play the game. I want to find out who my alliances truly are before we get to merge. That sounds terrifying. Just having the merge paranoia and the first tribal council paranoia all together. No, thank you. Yeah, that just confused me. I would be like, okay, sure, whatever. We lost. Let's start playing now. And I don't think Lindsay was ready to lose. I think that's pretty clear. The paranoia got her for sure. But it's just so weird because she had been such a force in the premiere that it felt like it came out of nowhere. So I was like, is this just the edit or is this real? But I had to think it's real because, like, James gives confessionals kind of confirming that it is real and not just something crafted by the show. It'll be interesting to hear from other people after the season if this is still a relevant point in the season. But I'm sure, like, hearing from deep dives from the Coco tribe, they'll get into it. But I look forward to that, how much of it was an edit and how much was true, because, I don't know, it just seemed out of nowhere for her to just freak out like that. But I guess if you want to play for that long, you finally get your chance, and then you have to go to your first tribal. Yeah, I guess I get it. You know, you're going to freak out a little bit. But especially when James is working so hard to rope her in and calm her down, you got to imagine that she could read that scenario well enough to know, like, okay, they're working very hard to make sure I trust them. And, like, not in a way that Justine did in episode 2 of just being, I don't know if I can trust you. Can I trust you? Are you gonna backstab me? It was handled very different. It's just a weird boot, but it was funny to watch happen. I love Carla and James. They're definitely my favorites from Coco. Everybody loves Ryan. He's such a likable dude. But come on, Carl and James, that's where it's at strategically, at least. So I love those two. But yeah, that's all I got. I will see you guys next time.
Thanks, Parker.
All right, Parker made some good points.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, James also bumped up in terms of visibility this episode. So, like he said, he wanted to be the king, but he was the pawn in the women's alliance when he was doing his chess analogies. Remember, he's the one that was the chess champion when he was real young.
Yep.
He's moving up the ranks here from a visibility and strategic perspective like Parker was talking about.
Yeah, and I do think James and Carla could be dangerous.
Formidable.
Yes, very much so.
Well, the alliance has been tested. It's just not clear how is it going to play out from here, because there was a significant split. This seems like it could throw the balance off. I think Carla's in a good position to pivot, just like James is. So,
Yeah, but Cassidy voted with them. Ryan voted with them.
Mm-hmm.
So the only one who didn't was Gio.
Yes.
So I don't see a big split. I'm kind of thinking, well, they could go either one, but I think it would be most likely if they go to tribal council again, it would either be Gio or Cassidy.
Yeah, and to Parker's point, they've been tested by fire now, so they've got that.
Yep.
They understand that going in. It's not going to be a big surprise to them, and we've got, maybe 2 more episodes before the merge?
I would think so, at least.
Yeah. That put it at 6. There's probably a double boot coming, maybe that, because we're looking for 7 to go out and then to merge.
No double boots.
Okay, thanks, Parker. Next up, we got a call from Cameron.
Hey, Joanna, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Cameron from North Carolina calling in. Joanne, I heard you last week. I did not let my picks roll over, but I did make my picks, and unfortunately, I did get it wrong, and I lost a save point once more on Lindsay. I didn't know too much about her, but I at least knew she was a super fan, so I thought she'd play it cool for a little bit, but nah, she completely spiraled, and that really stunk to see in my case. So I like to play fantasy football on top of JSFL, and I can only wish that I had Cody as my quarterback in that this year. Man, he was killing the first part of that reward challenge, taking out all the crates so quickly. So it's 4 episodes deep, and once Cody arrived to the Coco camp to take something of theirs, I thought to myself, wait, who are these people? Like, the editing has been pretty thin over there thus far. Like, I saw Carla, and I saw Gio, and then I was like, wait, who are these other 4 people? Even when I was making my JSFL picks, I saw Cassidy and Ryan's name, and I'm just like, I really don't know these people yet. So Cody seems to think they performed a major heist on them, and they seem to think he did too, but I don't know. I think he would have been better off just taking the machete, sticking with the tribe's plan. I think that's what you really need out there if you can't even make fire right now, so whatever. I'd be pretty ticked off if I were Coco at that immunity challenge based on Noelle yelling and helping Baca out. You know, Noelle, I like her and respect her for all that she's overcome, but now at this point in the game, it's really seeming like her social game is going to get her in trouble doing something like that. And lastly, I just wanted to take a moment to talk about how yesterday, right after I finished watching Survivor and Amazing Race, all over the news, once again, there's another mass shooting in America, except this time it was in the city of Raleigh, where I have called home since I was 2 years old. A 15-year-old kid killed 5 people, and others were shot. One's in critical condition. Like, this kid, his family literally goes to a church with one of my best friends. Another friend I have babysits in the neighborhood where it took place. My mom, actually, she is a teacher at an elementary school less than 10 minutes away from this neighborhood, has kids who live around there. And there was a girl today who was talking to her. You know, I couldn't even sleep last night. I was afraid I was going to die. And this is very tragic. And, I mean, who's to say what we should do? You know, a lot of people say the answer is to go and vote. I will be voting next month for sure, and I hope everyone else does. But, you know, like, how do you fix society with the snap of a finger? It's all super devastating that this has become so commonplace in our society. And all I can say is I hope everyone here keeps my city in your thoughts. I listen to your voice every week for years now. I've contributed, and I really feel like I have this personal connection with you people I never even met, including you two, Joanne and Stacy. So everyone just keep us in your thoughts. It's really tragic here right now. Sorry to end it on such a dark note, but hey, that's life. And I will see you all next week.
Definitely. We will do that and keep you in our thoughts and our prayers. And that's a huge emotional upset for everyone, even if they weren't immediately involved in the families that were killed and even the family that the person was from. It's devastating all the way around. So we do feel for you, and I hope that you have access to a counseling or whatever you need to help you feel safe again.
Yeah, everyone there. That's certainly one of those gaps that needs to be addressed.
I always found counseling to be super valuable.
Yep.
For all aspects of life. So good luck to you, sweetie.
Yep. All right. Next up, we got an email from Josh the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, Sad Sack Tribe Vesey really turned it around this week, winning reward and immunity, solving puzzles, and sticking it to Coco several times. It was quite the turnaround. My other observations, I bet Cody could sell elevators to one-story buildings. I just gotta wonder how many elevators are there in Hawaii that he's selling. I think he's got lots of free time.
They do have some high-rise places.
You know, he's got a lot of beach time, I bet, in between these major selling events. Lindsay's Island Playlist, Paranoid by Black Sabbath, Liar by Three Dog Night, Paranoid Android by Radiohead, Smiling Faces Sometimes by Undisputed Truth, and Don't Look Back by Boston. Cody feels like his girlfriend dumped him. The delivery guy dropped his pizza and his roommate drank his beer. Sounds like the makings of a hit country western song, you bet. Gabler runs a 5-star resort. The beds come with fresh palm frond blankets, sans ants. I found it fishy to offer a fresh fish challenge reward that one tribe couldn't eat. Jeff did a roll call for Coco at the challenge. Was he afraid someone had gone AWOL? Ryan, it takes massive talent to toss sandbags through the tiny spaces between the blocks. Yeah,
Truly.
He seemed really good at it, too. Why did the editors show Owen and Sammy's "good job, bro" exchange? They lost. Trader Jeff's exchange policy has definitely gotten more consumer friendly. Yes, it has. And I think everyone's wondering about that. Since when could you trade for any reward? This is some kind of post-monster kind of thing that he's come up with.
Something different. Let's do it.
Yeah. Coco called the other tribes losers, but Coco lost reward, Flint, and a tribe member. I'd love to see a negotiation between Salesman Cody and Trader Jeff. What is it about the sit-out bench that turns players into Captain Obvious? It's fair when Coco has the numbers, but unfair when the other tribes have them, right?
Right.
Lindsay wants revenge at the merge. I want a pony. The classic pony. If you are what you eat, then sour grapes must grow on Cocoa Beach. If Gio keeps giving Cassidy cutting directions, he may be the next thing she cuts. Flintless Coco vows revenge on Baca and Vesey. They're lucky it's a dish best served cold. Yes. Lindsay fell down the holly hole, but at least she didn't destroy any shoes. Amen to that. That's always going to be the best part about Nicaragua to me. And such a great redemption arc for her.
Mm-hmm.
Survivor 43, where the votes magically tally themselves. Ryan, just because you can climb a tree doesn't mean you should. Lindsay, if you ran around calling me a liar, I wouldn't want to talk to you either. Excellent point. Gio's spot-on imitation of Sandra's anyone but me shtick even sounded like her. I thought that too, yeah. Lindsay may be paranoid, but that doesn't mean they aren't out to get her. Coco had better not lose again. Lindsay's at Ponderosa plotting her revenge on them.
That's true.
Yeah, that's such a bad look for the nurse caregiver kind of vibe, wasn't it? Next time, another trio visits Risk Island and Baca lays on the drama. What mind-numbing twists awaits this time? Anyway, that's it from me for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Thanks, Josh. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. It is Rebecca calling from Northern California. But at the moment, I'm in New York, having a nice visit with my parents, in spite of the fact that my father is coughing upstairs. So we're going to COVID test him soon and hope that it's not COVID. Great episode. My favorite tribe, Vesey, came back sad from tribal council, but stronger than ever. They were so ready to redeem themselves, and boy, did they. They had another great episode, and I believe my USB Cody, who at first I was shocked that I had randomly picked him and thought I had made a terrible mistake. I like him. He's personable. He's got great social game. He's strong. He's funny. I'm really enjoying him. I hope he goes far. I don't think he's going to win, but I think he's great. Here we are at Baca and Gamblers. He's tickling everybody with the palm fronds, and he's just making everyone so angry. And then he's just literally rubbing people the wrong way with palm fronds. And Ellie's eye rolls remain the rest of this episode. Like, literally in every challenge, she's just rolling her eyes at him. She's so ticked off at him. She does not like him. But he still has an immunity idol for one more challenge, so I don't think he's going anywhere soon. So then Vesey dominates the reward challenge, and I love my USB Cody. He did so great. He became quite a contender the last couple of episodes. Then they're deciding, what tribe are we going to steal from? Are we going to go for Coco or Baca? And then they let Cody go in and be the grand salesman and total they just swindle all of them. It was very fun to watch. And it was funny how they were like, we will get you back if you take more stuff. And I'm we'll see. Then they go, the immunity challenge. And Bessie dominates again. It was so fantastic to see them doing so well. And I love Noelle. I was very sad I didn't get to remember to give my feedback the last couple of weeks because I'm just so impressed by Noelle. She's amazing, and this tribe is very, very strong and physical right now. The assist with Baca, telling them how to do the puzzle and making Coco lose, that was very interesting. I'm interested to hear what other people think. This was a bad week for Coco. So then we have to decide, who are we going to vote off? And it seemed like a very easy vote for Gio, but as we saw before, paranoia sets in for Lindsay, and she seals her fate by overthinking and over-talking, and she's gone. I was really sad Lindsay was gone. I really liked her. I almost chose her as my USB. She seemed capable and smart, and I was yelling at the computer, what are you doing? Nobody's voting for you. Why are you going so crazy? Well, I'm going back to California in 2 days, and I've had a lovely time checking out peak leaf season on the East Coast and seeing my family. Hope all of you are doing great. Love this season. Really, really good. So many people to root for, and my USB is not the train wreck I thought it was at the beginning. You guys have a great day. Thank you so much for all you do. Bye.
Excellent. Thanks, Rebecca. Yeah, I bet you're having a really good time cheering for Cody. He's such a character.
And we hope your dad just has allergies.
Or a cold. Yeah. That's statistically
simple, yeah.
Statistically more likely than COVID. That's where we're going to put our hope. Next up, we got a call from Noelle.
Hi, everyone. It's Noelle calling from Albuquerque. Boy, that Baca tribe really has those challenges on lock. I think they're just executing the same strategy every time. Janine is sitting out, and Owen and Sammy are on the puzzles, and it just seems to be working perfectly. They did not finish the physical portion first, but they made up the time and then even won on their puzzle strength, and that's very impressive. Ellie, I think, might be the tribe's mommy, as she had suggested before, because I think it was Owen, could have been Sammy. It was basically impossible to tell who was speaking, but it seemed like Owen kept snapping at Gabler for no reason throughout the challenge, just being very rude. And finally, Ellie's like, don't get sassy, like in that mom voice. And I don't think Owen's personality is serving him well. He, like he said, I think is way too cranky to last in Survivor. I wonder how the tribe would be faring if they had voted him out instead of Mariah. I bet they would be getting along a little better. Okay, moving on to Vessi. Cody went to steal from Coco. I think that did hurt Coco in the challenge because I don't think Coco's been the puzzle champs, but they've been so physically strong that they had enough time to come in first and second just based on their physical strength in the previous challenges. And so Vessi really strategically seemed to be going after Coco in this episode, and I wonder if that's going to play out to their advantage in the post-merge, because it seems clear they're trying to team up with Baca to go after Coco, the dominant tribe, but is that really going to work? I don't know. Is it really a good idea? I don't think so, because what we see with these tribes who never go to tribal council before the merge is they fall apart after the merge, at least not in the seasons that have 2 starting tribes, but in the seasons that have multiple starting tribes, the tribe that keeps winning tends to fall apart after the merge because they don't know who they can trust, and they don't seem to be that hard to pick off usually, but maybe it'll work out for Vessi and Baca. Cody's negotiation skills, I thought, were such a great demonstration of how to win at negotiation. I'm always trying to teach that to my daughter. I have a psych degree, and in social psychology, they taught us the same thing. Don't ever ask for what you want. Ask for something more than what you want. That way you can negotiate your way down and get what you actually wanted. And then the other person feels really good about not having given you your first ask. And so that was really great demonstration. Although I do think that Coco has maybe him at the top of their hit list now, and that might not be good for him. Hopefully he can stay ahead of that. Didn't see much from Dwight and Jesse this episode, but Noelle continues to be so inspiring in the challenges. I really love having her on this season. The Coco tribe voted out Lindsay, and that surprised me because I thought that her alliance was strong. I thought that probably the other 2 women didn't want to see another woman get voted out. It's extremely frustrating, but I entirely blame production. all of the challenges that are pre-merge are so heavily dependent upon upper body strength, and I think that's the reason why women get voted out. It's almost like it's designed that way, and it really pisses me off. But I don't think that they're going to do anything to fix it, so what are you going to do? I had Gio going, and I had Lindsay safe, so I continue to perform terribly in JSFL, but at least I got the tribe right this time. Everybody have a great weekend. Talk to you next time. Bye.
All right. Well, the Cassidy and Lindsay and James had actually done really well in puzzles in the past. And what you were saying with Baca, well, at least from what we were showing in the episode, the only reason they finished the puzzle and got the square was because Vesey helped them. So they weren't really dominating there.
Well, the other thing is that the other extra video out there is of Gabler
Oh, jeez.
giving them what they called a lecture when they got back from that challenge about the way Sammy and Owen were talking to, he didn't say him specifically, but to the others. And he went on and on and on. And Owen was like, we were just about to apologize for the way it's like we just get so intense during the challenges, but we were going to apologize for that, and they didn't, before they had the chance to even do that, Gabler started in, and they were not very happy at all about what they felt to be a lecture to the younger ones, and to share his valuable life experience and how they need to work together, not speak to each other in those ways. So the younger ones weren't very happy about
Certainly
that.
Owen wasn't. Yep. Thanks, Noelle. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. So here are my thoughts on Survivor Week 4. Gabler with the palm branches. He is so very unaware of what is helpful and what is not. During the reward challenge, did anyone notice that Jeff said that Sammy knocked his block off? I thought that was very funny. Actually, he said Sammy knocked his last block off, but I still just thought, did they make this challenge just so that Jeff would say that? I don't know. Cody was a beast in that challenge. He was awesome. I didn't expect Vesey to win that challenge. And this reward was pretty interesting. I don't think anyone would have been looked on favorably by the tribe that was getting their stuff stolen. Whoever showed up, they were going to end up having the other tribe dislike them. So in that sense, Cody did a good job negotiating. He got down to business. He tried to be as affable as he could be, but that was that. He did what he had to do, and Coco was upset. I mean, that's the breaks. It was the double-edged sword, that reward. Now on to the immunity challenge. I am so not in favor of one tribe helping another. I question the wisdom in that strategy. You're just tempting fate, and I don't like to tempt fate. So I'll be interested to see how that decision affects anyone's game on the Vesey tribe down the road. Now, just a random thought. The ocean is so green, like interestingly green, like lime green. How does that happen? I was really interested. I loved looking at it. It was very beautiful. I hope it was healthy. So in the end, I thought Cassidy was going to be the one to go because she's been so purple. But then I thought that Gio may be the one to go, one of the two. And then I finally settled on Gio. But Lindsay's paranoia, she needed to manage that. I mean, they had 3 girls and James, and it really looked like her paranoia got her voted out. Even all the way up to tribal council, I just was sitting there talking to the TV saying, Lindsay, stop talking. I mean, it's one thing managing paranoia, but listening to the things she was saying, I just had the feeling that Lindsay really had to go. You can't have someone be so paranoid and then be so abrasive. She revealed that she's confrontational and she can't be trusted. She seemed to be a little bit like that mom who caught her kid with his hand in the cookie jar and then talks about it to her friend on the phone in front of the kid. Kind of like passive aggressive. I thought at that point she needs to not play this game anymore. Vote her out. And there's definitely a lack of sportsmanship there as she left without a word. She very clearly engineered her own elimination, whether it was on the day or it was leading up to that little by little. Anyway, all 3 tribes seem to be divided between the men and the women, at least on the surface. And guess what? 4 women in a row have been voted out. This is not looking good. It's looking like it's going to be a men versus women season. Not looking good for the women. Anyway, that's it for me. I can't wait to hear everyone else's thoughts. Until next week. Bye.
Thanks, Jen.
Jen made me think about Cody and how's he going to feel after Lindsay kind of threatened him, with retaliation. How's he going to feel when they get to the next challenge and he sees, oh, she's been voted out. Whew, she won't be coming for me.
I don't think he spent any time worrying about her coming for her. That didn't seem like that would be in his nature.
Probably not.
He just completely brushed that off. Do you think is it lining up, men versus women? What do you think about what Jen said there?
Well, it certainly could. I think there's some strong women. I think Carla's very strong.
You have to question it with 4 women gone, obviously.
You absolutely do.
I totally get where she's coming from.
And I could see that happen, but I could also see a strong woman like Carla, just hang in there with them.
Oh, absolutely.
It just depends on the alliance and how loyal they are to each other.
And Carla and James seem to be working well with each other.
Yep, and if they got Ryan, I think Ryan would be loyal as well.
And you got, on Vesey, you got Dwight working with Noelle. At least that's what we've been shown. Yeah. So it's not completely in isolation. Now, on Baca, it has. It definitely has seemed to come down to those lines, and Ellie and Janine were very clear on they didn't think that the men were actually playing the game, that they were just goofing off and didn't seem to value their contribution in the perspective of the game. And when it came out, when Owen shared with Gabler, or no, it was Sammy who actually shared it, that Janine had gone through Gabler's bag, then there seemed to be a pretty clear men versus women separation, although we don't know still which way Sammy has kept his options open really well.
I could totally see them forget all about that and vote Gabler out just to get him
when
away.
The opportunity presented itself.
Oh, totally. Yes.
I agree. You don't want that kind of an element in your alliance going forward, especially when you've got to rebuild a power base at the merge. Good deal. Thanks, Jen. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here, and paranoia will destroy you. I lost another one of my possible USBs this week, and even though I feel the one I picked, Ellie, is low-hanging fruit just waiting to be plucked out of the game? Well, at least I didn't pick Justine or Lindsay. If things follow suit, though, Jesse, who was also a contender for me, is a goner. So my first thought when the episode started was that Gabler wasn't being nice so much as he was thinking, if I can't sleep, you shouldn't either. You know, Gabler, you are not doing yourself any favors here, and I really think that there's a possibility that the guys may tell him to save his idol as a keepsake because Ellie is a definite vote-off, and then turn around and vote him off instead. What a blindside that would be. I doubt it, but it would be interesting to see. You know, with Gabler, it's really his goatee. It just rubs me the wrong way. And does anyone else out there know what romper stompers are? Because that's what I was thinking of when I saw Cody walking on those 2 blocks. It's a 60s kid's toy, so I'm sure you whippersnappers won't know what I'm referring to here. But I have to say, like the rest of Vesey, I was so worried when they agreed to send Cody to go and raid that camp. But, you know, once again, I had Cody pegged all wrong, because in the end, well, only Carla realized what had happened. Or at least that we saw in the edit. You know who Cody reminds me of? You know that sleazy salesman in Die Hard? Well, Cody reminds me so much of that guy. Harry Ellis, I've seen the movie a few times, who went on to negotiate with Hans. Luckily for Cody, though, things went much better for him. Right, Bubby? I'm just not sure Cody's a white knight, though. And even though you already mentioned it, I really did love that puzzle that could become either a square or a triangle, depending on how you arrange the pieces. And in the end, after Vesey helped Baca to win, I realized that I believe this was a good move, which at first I was shaking my head at. When the merge finally comes, Coco could find themselves outnumbered, even if they win everything from here on out. Now, Lindsay being voted off kind of bummed me out, though, because I had high hopes for her. I think everything escalated for her when Ryan kept putting her off. All I can say is that Ryan is lucky that Lindsay didn't run off and bury his shoes in the sand. And Ryan actually disappointed me in this episode, but he redeemed himself in the end, although I don't remember how. And again, I'm loving Carla. If I use my USB, I'm probably going to pick her as my replacement. You know, I'm also wondering if the Ryan-Gio friendship isn't as strong as I initially thought. If that's true, then I feel he could be voted off sooner than not if his team heads back to Tribal, even though he performed well in the last challenges. Do you know what I really want to see, though? I want to see Baca help Vesey in the next challenge. just to watch the heads on Coco explode with rage. I feel sort of evil for wanting this to happen, but hey, entertainment, right? That said, I really have no clue who's going to lose next and who's going to leave. My 3 best picks in my head are Ellie, Dwight, or Cassidy. Or possibly Gio, like I said, but since James voted out his pal Lindsay, I think he'll stick with the guys. I am honestly stumped here, though, so I will be listening to the feedback show before I make my picks. And on that note, I've got to say thanks, everyone, and bye. Catch y'all next week.
Thanks, Paul.
All right.
I like thinking about that. How do you think it's going to play on Vesey if they lose? Who's the biggest risk to keep going into the merge? Cody and Jesse are going to say it's Noelle, maybe because of how things went down. And
Yeah, but I think it would be Cody or Jesse going home because Noelle's got the steal a vote.
Mm-hmm. And if Dwight does continue to work with her,
that's right.
That puts him up 3-2.
Now,
and as long as Cody doesn't get wind of it and play as idol for Jesse, then it would probably be best out of Cody and Jesse. I think we've talked about this a little bit. I still think it would be best to keep Cody. I think he would be a better ally than Jesse. I don't think he would be bitter. I think he's a shake it off guy and let's go, let's win this.
And he's been good in competition.
And let's build from here. Yeah, he's got other worries too. Because being a physical challenge threat, the way he's been, although that doesn't seem to be the case in the 40s, that's always, that those people are going to get taken out early.
Yeah, I still kind of think Dwight might go with the guys.
Yeah, it does feel that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that even though she's got to steal a vote, she can only steal 1 vote. And as long as the other 2 vote her, she's still gone. So I don't think that alone's going to save her. She's got to have one of the other guys to go with her.
Yeah, where's he going to find the greatest path forward? What will he value?
With the 2 guys, I believe.
I don't know. We've seen him operate with Noelle. I would think you could build something better there, and Noelle becomes like a shield.
But here's the thing. Even when he went to Noelle and he was angry at Jesse and all of that, he was like, well, he didn't want a divorce. He's just going to sleep on the sofa.
Send Jesse to sleep on the sofa.
And he's like, I still want to work with Jesse. He made that clear to Noelle. I still want to work with Jesse. So that's why I think he's not let go of that, of working with them, or at least Jesse, completely. So I don't know that he's gone completely over to the Noelle camp, but I do think it's good that he made a connection in case he needed her. But I still kind of think she would be the one to go.
Do you think we're going to see 2 people lose their vote this week in the risk reward risk
I don't
advantage?
know. You were going to go back and look that up. Did you do that? Well, then we still don't know, do we?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure though.
You're pretty sure though?
Yeah, that there's going to be 1 advantage and 2 loser votes in there. If they make the choice to risk.
Okay.
First step, risk, no risk. I think Gio would be motivated to take the risk because his tribe did not vote with him against Cassidy.
Well, we thought they all 3 would take the risk. I still have not changed.
Jesse's got nothing, so he would be eager, and like you said, he's there to win $1 million.
Yeah.
So.
And I think Janine's a go-getter. I think she would too.
She'd be looking for something also. Yeah, I think we're going to see it. I think we're going to see 2 people lose their vote and then 1 person gain an advantage. And it very well may be that the beware advantage comes into play, that's what Owen was looking at.
Well, here's the thing with Janine. The only thing I think could stop her from doing it is if they've gotten any clues that Gabler's working with the guys and might want to vote one of them out. Then she wouldn't want to lose her vote for any reason. So that might change her mind. But I don't know that they have an inkling. I think they truly believe that Gabler thinks he can't use that.
Yeah.
And that they can all vote him out.
Certainly what we've been left with there. Yep.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get another action-packed episode.
I hope so.
Yeah, good deal. Hey, we want to say a big thanks to everyone who took the time to share your thoughts and predictions with us. We enjoyed it. We appreciate hearing from all of you. We'd also like to send out a big thanks to David and Kim for your donations. We greatly appreciate that support. It goes to our operational costs, and it's a big help, so thank you so much. We'd also like to thank Grand Champ for your review on iTunes. We appreciate the positive support there as well. Helping get the word out about the podcast is always good.
If you play in JSFL, don't forget to make your Week 5 picks for one person voted off and 4 people who you think will still be in the game at the end of the episode.
We love doing the listener feedback show, and we'd like to have you join us next week. You can call and leave a voicemail, 206-350-1547, toll-free 844-643-8737. You can record an audio comment and attach it, or just type up a quick text message and send it to us via email at joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. Easy for me to say. Feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturdays, and we ask that you keep it in that 3-minute range. Everybody did great. We appreciate the early submissions this week, helping us get it squared away.
Okay, is there anything else you want to say about this week's episode before we put it to bed and sign off?
I'm enjoying the season. This was another check mark in that tally for me.
Ditto.
Okay.
All right, we'll see you back here on Wednesday with our recap.
Have a good one.